Hey guys, it's Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about the 10 years of planners that I've been using. So I've been using a planner since 2010. I remember using it in high school when I first encountered the concept of planners because, apart from assignment notebooks, I still like planning my own stuff that are not related to school. So we're going to go through 10 of them today. I don't actually have a yearly planner for all the years, but I'm going to show you how I managed to get through the year without having a planner, but I do have different notebooks for that. Does that make sense? So yeah, keep watching. It's gonna be a lengthy one, but I hope you can grab a cup of coffee and enjoy watching this video. So 2010 was the first year I started to use a planner. I saw this planner at Fully Booked and I was like, wait a minute, I kind of want one. It's called I don't know the pronunciation. TeNeues. I'm just assuming this is kind of like German or some kind of European. TeNeues. I used to read it as TeNeues. Anyway, so this brand has a lot of different artists that grace the covers of the planners. So I got this one. I don't even know who she is, Jenny Frian, but she does patterns, and I was like, maybe I would get this because I really like the artworks, and I do have a lot of ephemera here. It's so funny. And if you look at the planner, I have a lot of colored pens. I remember getting my first ever set of Staedtler fine liners during the same time, and that was like really expensive. It was like 600 pesos. It's kind of funny looking back because now I work as an artist for a living, and I have a lot of pens. Yeah, so this one was basically my transition from high school to college. So there were it was a pretty eventful summer, and I always had something to write about. All in all, I wouldn't say this is my favorite planner. I just wanted to share with you my drawing at the back. Well, then don't you look at that? It's nice, but it's very bulky, which leads us to my 2011 decision, which size-wise, look at how tiny it is. So I got this Keep Calm and Carry On planner for 2011. I remember asking my cousin from the States to order this off of Amazon for me. This was the first time I got really into Amazon, like ordering online. I remember ordering Twilight and my first ever Moleskine. That was 2010. And then I asked for this one. So at this time, this phrase was very popular. I think it was from the UK or British. It wasn't from Britain, but I really liked it. And this planner is very interesting because it's very small. And looking back, I think it kind of made sense because I didn't really have a lot of things to talk about, and I only wrote stuff for school. So the left side of my days were all about school. The right side also, but depends if I have like other creative projects lined up. When I was in college, I did have a lot of things that were going on for me because I also ran a shop and did a lot of creative experiments. It was a pretty interesting time in my life, actually. So I think this planner wonderfully captures that. Probably present Abby would not be able to use this because it's very tiny, and it kind of reminds me of the Hobonichi Weeks, but like, I don't know what size this is. This is not A6. This is probably, I don't know, but it's not as big as A5, so I'm pretty happy with this. My next planner is actually not a planner. This was the season where I started to not use planners, and I don't know why. I just opted for dotted notebooks or grid notebooks, or in this case, lined notebooks. That's me. I cannot believe that was me. But anyway, this notebook was given to me, and I wrote their thoughts, things, and travels, second half of 2014. So my years are kind of, I don't remember if I had a planner from 2012 to 2013. I remember just writing a lot of post-its. But this was when I was backpacking in Southeast Asia, so there are a lot of notes here about my trip. Now that I think about it, I should probably put it somewhere else. I wrote all my expenses, all the places we went to. Also, this was transitioning into all of the freelance work that I started getting while working in a company. So a lot of post-its, a lot of to-dos. And looking back, I'm kind of judging my handwriting. It's so ugly. Overall, I'm not a fan of the design. Oh, but look, it's my old work right here. Very cool. I don't like how, it's lined. I don't really like lined. I don't think I ever used ruled notebooks after this era or after this notebook, which leads us to the time when I decided to, splurge more on notebooks, and I actually worked briefly with Moleskine for a while, and then they gave me a couple of notebooks, and I think they also gave me this one. It's old. It's kind of frayed now, and I guess I didn't take care of it that much, but this one is just a regular soft cover Moleskine with dotted pages. I would say this one really, I don't think this is like pure A5. I think A5 is a bit wider, so this is a bit slimmer, but I'm very happy with it because I really finished all the things that I was going to do here. What happened was, this time bullet journaling wasn't a thing yet, and I actually did my own setup already. So I usually write the dates on the right side, and then what I have to do for the day. There are days that I just write the date, and then I have to fill up the whole page with what I have to do, because admittedly that's how much work I have to get done in a day. This was the time I was working on a lot of freelance projects, so I always go to a lot of meetings, and this is the only notebook I bring. So I feel like at that time I really merged a lot of work planner stuff and personal, but not so much about the personal, but ideas, questions, stuff I might forget, and they're all here. Coffee break. Next up, I was introduced to the wonders of this notebook from Muji. So much so that I have two of them, but they were used in different years. First of all, I got this in 2015. This is a Muji notebook A5. It says 70 pages. Inner pages, recycled paper, more than 5%. The price is still here. It's 345 pesos, which is very cheap. And this is the real A5. This is like slimmer A5, so I guess this is the real A5. First of all, I like that it's hardbound and it's craft in front. So I like decorating my planners if it isn't any obvious. In terms of systems, you might notice now that my style is very much a list type of person. I do like listing out stuff, and especially when I'm fleshing out a lot of projects, it's just not about writing the to-dos of a project. It's also mostly about some concerns or like the project scope, timeline, stuff like that. I guess I'm a very I like being a strategic person. That's also my previous job. So I like how plans and ideas are brainstormed and like how the whole process goes. So that way my workflow with these planners per se are always about those things, like the progress. But I realize I'm not a progress tracker kind of gal, so I always like writing to-dos and itemizing each of my to-dos. That way I get things done. Next up, I'm trying to figure out which one. Okay, this is 2017, so this one. I went back to the tiny planner because I went to Korea that time, and I will link down below a blog post that I wrote about it. A lot of people really liked that post. I went to 10 by 10 in Seoul, and chanan! This guy just got a twin. So it's just a bit thicker and a bit larger, but it says Live in Harmony, and it says at the back, Green Design Works Gongjang. So it's very nice, but sadly I didn't really finish it. The reason why I got this planner, let me just show you the layout inside. So it's very systematic and the to-dos are very concise. You can just put them there. I did use it for a time, but this was also the time that I was starting to get into creative journaling. So you will see that my to-do lists are not just black and white. I literally have stickers on every page, and I think because of that I sort of limited the whole, I kind of didn't take it seriously in terms of work, so I don't know if it's going to be useful, so I didn't end up finishing it. I feel bad though. There are just some planners that don't really work for me, and this is one of them. But still very cute and very handy. I don't remember when I bought this. I got into the whole Rollbahn craze 2017 and 2017. So Rollbahn is a brand it's owned by Delphonics. I think it's made in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. But I googled Rollbahn. It's a German word. And all the words here in the cover are also German. I'm just not good at pronouncing it, but yeah, Die Propeller drehen sich. I don't know what this means, but there's like a logo of a bird or a plane. No, Superman. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so I started to get into Rollbahn for one good reason. It looks like this one. You will see that my notebooks sort of look alike. It looks like this one, but it's a bit wider. Like, how wide am I gonna get with these things, right? So, the pages are yellow. That's my only... It's not my concern. It's a very interesting characteristic of the Rollbahn notebooks. And apart from this larger than A5 size, there's also a smaller size which I recently got, so I might use that for next year for like work and stuff. Again, this acted as my planner. I started, I remember writing this during the planning of the magazine launch of ABC magazine. So this is June 2017. Looking back, I realized also the busiest periods of my year are usually in the summertime, which was during the time where I would write a lot of books, because that's book writing time, and publishing always happens in the fall, either in the fall or summer. So my busiest months are like in the summer, like March, April, May, and then you have like August, September, October, because this is nearing the holidays and I have to, you know, promote stuff, go to events, back when events were a thing. I'm thinking if I missed some of them. No. Okay, so 2018 made me go back to this. I will not show you the other planners that I use, but I attempted to use the Traveler's Notebook Vertical to schedule my weeks in New York, and it was so frustrating because I write a lot. I really write a lot, and I have a lot of things on my to-do list, like errands, personal stuff, work stuff, and I also log all the things I did, and like it just didn't work for me. So I went to the nearest Muji in New York, and I bought myself the same notebook, and I also got the Cavallini & Co. sticker tin can sticker pack full of New York stickers, and I was like, okay, might as well decorate this and make me feel more inspired to work. So this one was a mix of personal stuff, work stuff. Wow, I actually did like cover pages, goals. Again, I also did a lot of planning and a lot of figuring out what I was going to do and how I'm going to approach the work that I have to do. Overall, I'm happy that I finished this, and I think, did I finish it? No, I just finished half of it. So most of it was from New York, because this was also the end of the year. So then I wanted to write a lot about what was going to happen next year, and I found this very interesting article that I wrote down from Girl Boss, 10 big questions to ask yourself before mapping out your 2019 goals, which I answered. Let me just read it for you guys. So, what was your biggest mistake? Expecting too much from myself. This was in 2018. I think that coming to New York with high expectations was my biggest mistake. Also, the fact that I spent the year lingering on that was what led me to rock bottom. True, but it's fine. I learned quite a great deal out of this mistake, and furthermore realized that maybe things had to be this way in order for me to take a step back and be really in tune with myself. Wow. There, past Abbey. Yeah, I'm happy about this. I should probably do this like goal thingy every end of the year. So before I went to New York, I spent the first half-ish of the year using a bullet journal. So this is the Leuchtturm 1917 journal with my name here because it's fancy like that. This was given to me by a national bookstore and I was very happy with this. I was so excited to plan. I made future logs. I actually did not film this because I wanted to really try it out for myself. I did enjoy it for a time, but I found that a lot of the plans had changed, so I then had to change and edit a lot of stuff here, which made me really feel a bit more stressed out about it because it's a question like in terms of how neat you want the journals to look like or how messy, and I am really bad at making my journals very neat. I'm not the neatest person. I'm just happy that, you know, I do a lot of creative things, so then I just cover it with stickers and stuff like that. So I finished this from January to August, but my planning has really drastically changed. I'd have spreads that were really like well thought of, and then some spreads were really like I don't want to even bother, and you know, it's all about functionality at this point anyway, so I'm happy about that. Moving on to an outlier that I forgot I had. Again, I realize now that my journals all look alike. We're moving on to this random impulse buy that I bought in New York. So I bought this in Amazon. This is the Field Notes 56-week planner. So for 2019, I wanted to use this because I figured that I might just need a planner that has divisions so that I know that I don't do too much in a day. I feel like with the past few years, what happened was I just like to write a lot in a day, and I fill up a page a day, which is pretty typical for me because I do a lot of things in a day, and sometimes I do log about random stuff. So the problem was when I stayed abroad for like a good 2 or 3 months, I don't bring my planners anymore. I usually just crack open a new one that can last me like for 2 to 3 months, because that way I don't have to carry a bigger planner. Does that make sense? So with that, I left this out after I left for Berlin, and then I went back to it in August, but I didn't manage to finish it, so I only finished like half a year. Overall, it was good, but I don't know if I want to use it again. I just like how handy it is. Again, size comparison with, you know, these planners, they sort of have the same size. But if you notice, I never use like A6 for planning. It's just too small for me, so there's that. Now moving on to more planners. I started to get back into planners, so I got a copy of Everyday Explorers Co. Let's Be Explorers Planner. This was the first planner that CH came up with, and back then there was no cover, so I mean, it's still intact, so I'm happy about it. I didn't also take this out too much, so that way it was kept safely in my work desk, and I'm happy about that because I don't want it to get, you know, messy and stuff like that. So I like this because it helped me put things into perspective with my work, my goals, and I think this was also... Okay, now that I'm trying to figure out where I started. Oh, okay, it makes sense now. This one was my personal planner, and this was my work planner. So this one was... It looked like this was my weeks planner, and now that I think about it, I am going to show you my Hobonichi Weeks from 2018. So in 2018, since I had that bullet journal, I got myself a Hobonichi Weeks. It was my first time getting Hobonichi Weeks. It's kind of naked at the moment, but I really like this color. It's like a light pink. I liked it, and my bad, I didn't bring this to New York, which I really regret. I used this as a log of personal things as well, because I find that the slots for each day are too small, and then the blank page at the right side is mostly for to-dos, stuff to read, things to watch, my horoscope, and then at the back for the... I didn't really write. Okay, I wrote a lot about like tarot readings, articles at the back, and like my quarter life crisis notes. Cool, fun stuff. So there's that. Now we are down to the last 2 notebooks. I developed a random fascination for thin notebooks, and I don't like thin notebooks because I feel like I'd rather like use a thicker notebook and use it for a longer period of time than a short one. But I remember I was in Barcelona with my friend, and we were like, wait a minute, I have a lot of things to think about and I don't have a notebook. So I went to Muji and there's Muji everywhere, guys. So I bought a really thin notebook. It's only like 195 euros, so not bad. And then I wrote stuff about my campaigns. This was mostly for work because when you're traveling, you don't really write about what you have to do in that day. But I was at that point where I was traveling and worrying about work, which wasn't really a great combo. I did manage to write a lot here, which is great because with that, I am able to sort of get a hold of what I want to work on when I got home. It was, looking back, that period was very busy because I went to Barcelona and San Sebastian and Bilbao for 2 weeks, and then a week after, I went to South Africa for 2 more weeks. A week after that, I was straight off to Berlin for the rest of the summer. So I was really like all over the place, and I didn't know if I had like a catch-all planner to manage all the things that I was doing at the time. With all these projects, it's always nice to have just one commonplace notebook for that. So, which is what this served as. I'm very happy with it. I also finished it, so I'm glad. I just got a blank notebook. I don't know if it helped. Oh, at the back, I actually wrote all the pasalubong / treats that I bought from Spain because I like dividing all of my the things that I bought, and then I would give it to friends as like a gift. And since I was into the thin notebook craze, I started using the notebook / journal Kyla gave me. And I don't know if it came with I think it came with the plastic. So this is a Rainbow Holic journal. I brought this to Berlin. I remember now. And again, these are all my work related things. They're all here because I did have a lot of work while I was in Berlin, which wasn't cool. But then I would separate my full days are in the studio, and then at night it's either I work on them or on the weekend. So it was like a good balance, and with that I was able to sort of like figure out also how I was gonna go about my schedule and basically get things done. I mean, the overarching goal of all my planners is just to make it a systematic way for me to finish everything that is on my to-do list, and with that I'm quite happy about that. I have another Muji notebook. This is actually my ABC Field Guide book notebook. Does that make sense? This is where I logged all my ideas for the Always Be Creating book. I have a lot of different books, notebooks, and journals for each of my books. This is where I write all the information that I need for the book. Wow, with matching coffee stains here. And also like research that I did in order to create the book. This was really a fun book that I worked on because I really poured my heart into this. And, you know, cover options, stuff like that. And yeah, I really like this notebook. I forgot to add that while I was in Berlin, I used the Everyday Explorers. Now that I think about it, I don't really know where the New York one went, but I started to use this. I don't know what the number is, but it's a trial. I remember this was like a trial set that CH did because the cover was pretty thin. This was an attempt to log all the things that happened during my time in Berlin because this was segregated into 3 months. It was like a project journal, and that way it was perfect for my trips. So I wrote about it here. Didn't finish it though. I finished it until the time that I went to Munich, so that was cool. And now that we are in 2020, well, at least the time I'm filming this, I'm going to show you some of the planners that I'm currently using. So first off, I never really share about my weeks, but a lot of people did view my setup videos. Thank you so much about that. This is the Hobonichi Weeks. I got this design. Again, I forgot who designed this, but he's a famous Japanese botanist, and every year he comes up with designs for Hobonichi. Last year, I think he started last year, and then I saw this and I was like, wait, this is too pretty to be ignored, so I bought it. what happened with my weeks was earlier this year I made it specifically for personal errands, like hobbies that I needed to do, you know, going to pottery class, dishes to cook. And then towards the quarantine season, which is still ongoing until now, I made it like sort of a personal journal, again, because it's a very small slot for each day. And then on the right side, I just write like stuff that I ordered or things I'm thankful for. At the back, I started to fill it up with a lot of articles and goals and random stuff that I might have forgotten, because if, you know, back then when I was going out, I would not bring my planner out, and then I would just write it here. Next up, I don't have it here, but I'm going to show you some footage, is the Everyday Explorers Co. It's still more or less the same style, but the layout inside is different. I am very happy about this because I started it in October and I'm about to finish it this October, and I'm kind of sad about it because I have to figure out what my next notebook is going to be for the next 2 months. But I finished this down to the T because it was very efficient. I started to use it as a work planner. But on days today, like I'm at home and I keep forgetting that my work planner is in my studio, which is where I work, but I still work at home. I got this project paper notebook from TeNeues in Jewel, which is in Changi Airport in Singapore. So a little story about that was, I was set to fly that day at like, I think like 2 p.m. in the afternoon from Singapore to Manila, but my flight got delayed to 2 a.m. Fun time. So I spent the whole day walking around Jewel and like figuring out what to do. So I decided to go to TeNeues and get get a pen and notebook and write about my stuff, which I did end up writing on the first part of my like I did a lot of budgeting and stuff like that. And then towards the end, I found this notebook sitting in my desk. I was like, wait a minute, I can probably log all the things that I need to do. So there are days here that I just write all the things I need to do and figure out what my system is going to be and make sure that I check all of them. So that's it for 10 years of my planners. That was a lot. Looking back, if I could assess how I planned, first of all, I had really bad handwriting, and I'm not sorry about that. I just wish that I was more efficient with that, because that way I could have, revisited some ideas. Because now I feel like planners are not, my planners at least, they're not really geared for archival purposes. You know how I could probably get an idea from 2015 that I have otherwise not used, but then my handwriting is so ugly and my content is not organized, and with that I kind of feel bad because I have to reread all the pages in order to find an idea that I can use, or like to look back on a certain event if like I had to work through a process that is similar with what I did for the past years. So those are my concerns. My other concern is also, I used to be really insecure about how the sizes are never the same. You know how some people use just one type of notebook and use that for the rest of their lives? I am not that person, and I used to feel really bad about this because a perfectionist side of me is like, Abby, you have to have like a shelf full of journals with like all these brown covers. It's just the same concept as like why I bought these notebooks. I wanted to archive them properly, but alas, I didn't do that. And now I'm like, you know what, I don't really care, because for me, the purpose of me using different planners every year is also to see what kind of system works best for me. I still feel like there are better systems that work for me. And my goal next year is hopefully find a system and work towards better archiving my ideas. I have been talking about this in some of the webinars I held at Patreon for my patrons, but I realized that my notes app sent me a notification yesterday like, your iCloud storage is full, you have to buy more and stuff like that. And I do have a good balance of like analog and digital tools to use for planning, but now that I think about it, I want to take more responsibility and be more aware of what planners will help me reach my goals and plan more efficiently and get things done. I really believe in the power of writing. I do have a lot of journals, but a lot of people do ask me like where I store them, so I'm probably gonna show you like a little storage tour. But here on the right side, on my right side, is actually my bookshelf, which I had my best friend do for, I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 24 slots. So one of them is actually for all of these journals and planners, because that way I can always just take out a basket and like revisit a lot of my planners. So I hope you enjoyed this very lengthy video. If you have questions, make sure to comment them down below, and I hope to see you guys on my next one. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more videos on all things creativity and making things happen. And this has been Abby. Make sure to also join our online art community on Patreon to get more inside scoop on all things journaling, planning, art, living a creative life. I've run out of things to say. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm gonna continue drinking my coffee and spending the rest of the day working and planning and getting things done. Bye!